Do you remember the last time you told a story everyone had heard a dozen times? Or when you were so honest with feedback that it made your kids or grandkids blush and look away? These small moments, which you might think are harmless, can quietly build walls between you and your family, friends, and even kind neighbors. As we age, we settle into familiar habits, feeling comfortable with routines, but sometimes those habits turn into blind spots. You might think you are just being true to yourself, but those closest to you may notice behaviors that are not so flattering, behaviors you do not even realize you have. In this video, I invite you to explore 12 habits that can unintentionally create distance. More importantly, you will learn how to tweak these habits into strengths, not only to regain the trust and love of those around you, but also to feel more confident and at peace every day. Stick around until the end, because with just a few small changes, you will feel a fresh spark in your relationships and within yourself. And do not forget to hit subscribe so you will not miss tips for living a fuller life every day. Let us get started. Number 1, neglecting personal hygiene. One of the quiet ways people drift away from you is when you stop taking care of yourself the way you used to. No one wants to point out your uncombed hair, overgrown nails, or the same outfit you have worn for 3 days, but they notice, they see it, and little by little they step back. The issue is not just about looking messy, it is the message you unintentionally send. I do not matter anymore. When you were younger, staying clean and presentable was a natural part of life, going to work, meeting family, or dating. But as we age, those reasons fade. Fatigue creeps in. You might start to wonder, if I am just staying home, why bother? That subtle shift can become a blind spot in your relationships. No one wants to pull away from you, but it is hard for them to stay close when they sense you are letting go. A faint body odor or a stain on an old shirt can make loved ones keep their distance. Shorten conversations or stop hugging you like they used to. But here is the truth, taking care of your hygiene is not about looking good for others. It is a reminder to yourself that you still have worth, that you deserve love and respect. A clean shirt, neat hair, or brushed teeth are not luxuries. They are your way of telling the world, I am still here, I still care about myself, and I still want to connect. You do not need to look like you stepped out of a magazine, but the small effort you put into your appearance can earn you a lot of respect. When you feel better about how you look, others find it easier to approach and connect with you. This small difference can open up a whole new world of warmth sharing and understanding. Taking care of yourself is not just about cleanliness. It is an emotional statement. It says you still love yourself. And because of that, there is room for you in others' hearts. Remember, people do not drift away because you are aging. They pull back when you stop shining. And that shine starts with the smallest things. Number 2, speaking without thinking. As we enter our later years, something interesting happens. That little voice in our head that used to say, do not say, that gets quieter or disappears altogether. You start feeling free to share thoughts and feelings you might have kept to yourself. Before I have lived long enough to say what I want, you might think. While that can feel liberating, the truth is those around you might feel awkward or hurt by your bluntness. This does not mean you cannot share your thoughts, but there is a fine line between honesty and rudeness. When someone pulls back, shifts uncomfortably, or avoids eye contact, it might be a sign your words were not just truthful, they felt critical or harsh. You might have commented on someone's appearance, weight, or life choices, then quickly brushed it off with, I am just being honest. Or, people were not so sensitive back in my day. But here is the reality. Honesty without kindness can feel like a punch to the heart. Worse, the listener will not argue back. Instead, they will quietly withdraw. Visits become less frequent, phone calls get shorter, and conversations lose their ease. They still care about you, but they are protecting themselves from words that sting, even if you did not mean to hurt them. This does not mean you have to watch every word or live in fear of being judged. But there is an important lesson as we age before you speak. Take a moment to think. Is this necessary? Is it kind? Sometimes what feels like just the truth is really bottled up, frustration or disappointment, and it can cause more pain than you realize. Here is a simple rule. If you would not want someone to say it to you, do not say it to them. The beauty of aging lies in the wisdom and experience you have gained over the years. When that wisdom is wrapped in kindness, you will be heard and valued like never before. But when it comes with sarcasm or criticism, people start to pull away even with good intentions. your words carry weight sometimes more than you know. Use them to build connections, not invisible walls between you and those you love. I am certain the next two habits, numbers 3 and 4, are ones many older adults fall into without realizing. Keep watching to find out. And let me know you are here by clicking number 2 in the comments. Number 3, wearing clothes that no longer fit. There is nothing wrong with holding on to that jacket from '92 or those worn-out leather shoes. Those items carry memories, making you feel safe and familiar. But sometimes that attachment keeps you stuck in the past without you even noticing. You might not see it, but others do. They notice the baggy pants slipping off your waist, the shirt too tight around your arms, or colors that no longer suit your skin tone. It is not just outdated. It can come across as careless. They do not say anything because they are polite or because they care about you. But deep down, a small gap starts to form. And sadly, it is not about generational differences. It is the feeling that you have stopped caring. Pause for a moment and think, why do we dress nicely when visiting someone or attending an event? Because it shows respect not just for others, but for ourselves. So, why as we age do we let that go, saying, I just want to be comfortable? Yes, comfort matters. But there is a line between comfort and sloppiness, and the clothes you choose each day can signal whether you are still engaged with life or slowly fading into the background. No one is asking you to chase trends or look like a model, but clothes that fit well, are clean, and suit your age and style make a quiet but powerful statement. I am still here, present in this life, and I deserve respect. I once heard a son share, after my mom retired, she stopped buying new clothes. She said, the old ones are fine, but I noticed people treated her differently when she went out. They did not chat with her as warmly. No one said it, but I could tell they saw her as someone who was withdrawing, fading away. Clothes are not just for wearing, they are part of your body language. People do not just judge you by how you dress, they feel you through it. When you dress neatly, even simply, they smile more, they listen more closely. They see you as someone still vibrant, not young in age, but awake to life. Start small. A pair of jeans that fits a bright shirt that lights up your face, or shoes that are not worn out. It is not about impressing anyone. It is about feeling confident and full of energy, so others enjoy being around you. Number 4, interrupting and dominating conversations. At a certain age, your words carry weight, not because you speak loudly, but because you have lived long enough to have stories, lessons, and perspectives youth cannot match. You want to share. You want others to listen, not just because you have something to say, but because you believe it can help them. But then something odd happens. The more you talk, the less others respond. They go quiet, nod politely, or quickly change the topic. Over time, they pull back. Visits become rare, calls get shorter, messages feel formal. You might not understand why, but it could be how you show up in conversations. Many older adults fall into an unconscious habit, interrupting or overtaking conversations. It is not about wanting to steal the spotlight. It is being eager to offer advice, assuming you know what is coming, or believing you are saving someone time. But every time you cut in, you do not just take their voice, you take away their chance to feel heard, the most valuable part of any conversation. Think of a conversation as a bridge built with words. When you keep interrupting, that bridge never gets finished. The other person stays on their side, unable to reach you, no matter how eager you are. Have you ever found yourself in this situation? The painful part is, you will not hear complaints, others will not argue or correct you. They will just retreat quietly, politely. And you might think they have changed, but maybe you have left them no room to speak. The solution is not to talk less, it is to listen more actively. Listen to understand, not to respond. Listen to give them space, not to debate. Sometimes you need to hold back the urge to give advice right away. Let them finish their story, even if you know the ending. Do not rush to solve their problems or share your lesson. Trust that when they feel respected, they will come to you for advice willingly. Here is the paradox. The best listeners are the ones who get heard the most. When you do not fight for control of a conversation, you become safe, approachable, and trusted. People seek you out, not because you have so much to say, but because you make space for them to speak. So, next time you are talking with someone, your grandkids, neighbors, old friends, or even a stranger, pay attention. Are you truly listening, or just waiting for your turn to talk? Some connections do not need many words. They need thoughtful presence, a nod at the right moment, a quiet look, a pause that lets them keep going. When you create those spaces, bonds grow, the conversation opens up, and you, no matter your age, remain someone others want to be close to, listen to, and share with. Stick around, because what I am about to share next might surprise you. Number 5. Complaining about kids these days. Have you ever heard or said something like, "Back in my day, people were polite. Money was hard-earned, then not like kids today," or "All they do is stare at their phones, they do not know how to live." At first, it is just a passing comment, but then it becomes a habit in every conversation. Before you know it, you have made yourself hard to approach, not because you are unkind, but because your nostalgia has overshadowed your curiosity. Every generation finds the next one a bit strange. Parents shook their heads at their kids. Grandparents frowned at their grandkids. It is the cycle of time. But if you are not careful, that difference becomes a wall, one you build yourself. When older adults constantly complain about younger people, it does not feel like concern to them. It feels like judgment. They sense you have closed your heart and hung a sign that says, "I do not want to understand you." The sad part is relationships start to crack, not from big fights, but from these seemingly harmless words. Family dinners get quieter, calls become less frequent, personal stories get cut short for fear of being lectured, and you feel more and more out of place in your own family without knowing why. You do not need to understand everything new. You do not have to master social media or mobile banking, but you can choose not to judge. You can ask a question instead of making a statement. You can say, "Tell me about it," instead of, "Kids these days are all the same." Here is the thing. Sometimes what young people need is not someone to guide them. It is someone to walk beside them, quietly, steadily, without pushing or preaching, just listening and respecting. If you want to be heard, if you want your kids and grandkids to come to you more, do not talk, more soften your heart. They will not say it, but they will feel it. They will remember the adult who made them feel understood and accepted, and one day they will seek your advice willingly. When that happens, your words will carry weight, not because of your age, but because you are trusted. So, next time you are about to say, "Kids," these days pause, take a breath, look into their eyes. Instead of reminiscing, be present. Instead of teaching, connect. That is the greatest gift an elder can give. Unconditional listening. Number 6. Ignoring modern manners. Have you ever noticed an annoyed glance when you talked too loudly on the phone on a bus, or seen someone quietly step back when you stood too close in line? Maybe you played a video in a cafe without headphones. These seem small, but they create a clear sense of being out of sync. Today's world does not work like it did 20 or 30 years ago. We live in a more crowded, sensitive society where personal space is highly valued. People might not say anything, but they show it by avoiding you, staying silent, or leaving. It is not dislike. It is just avoiding confrontation. The irony is, many older adults do not mean to be rude. They are just holding on to habits that were normal back then, but times have changed. If you do not adapt, younger people might not see you as wise and experienced, but as inconsiderate or even impolite. Do not worry. This is one of the easiest things to fix. You do not need to relearn etiquette or change who you are. It is about noticing your surroundings and putting yourself in others' shoes. In public, check if your voice is loud enough to make people turn their heads. If you want to listen to music, watch a video, or have a long phone call, use headphones. It is a simple way to say, "I respect our shared space" when in line. Even if you are impatient, keep a comfortable distance, not out of fear, but because everyone needs room to feel respected. No one is asking you to be someone else, but these small actions send a big message. You are still tuned into the world, not stuck in the past, living slowly but not standing still. That is enough to make others feel at ease around you. A calm, thoughtful person who is aware of the rhythm of life around them. If this feels like it is about you, that is no coincidence. Number 7. Talking too much about health problems. No one chooses to be sick. It comes knocking sooner or later, and when you have lived long enough to call yourself an elder, aches and pains are just part of the deal. Your body starts to creak, and doctor's appointments pile up like work meetings in your younger days. So, sharing your health struggles is completely understandable, but here is the catch. It is not wrong to talk about your health, but when it dominates every conversation, it becomes a problem. Have you noticed that gatherings often shift from small talk to your latest prescription, recent scan, or the odd side effect of your blood pressure meds? You do not mean to complain. It is just that health is on your mind a lot at this age. The issue is when one topic takes over, it drains the energy from those listening, even if you do not intend it to. Younger people, your kids, grandkids, or friends, listen with genuine care. But if every meeting turns into a medical update, they start to feel weighed down. They run out of things to say beyond. Really? What did the doctor say? Or, are you feeling better? When their words of comfort dry up, they step back. Not out of indifference, but because they feel helpless or even guilty for not being able to help. It sounds harsh, but the truth is illness can take over, not just your body, but your personality, if you let it. You used to be passionate, funny, caring, and attentive. But now, if every talk revolves around where I got tested, how it hurts, or how little I have slept, those vibrant parts of you fade. Others forget how bright you were. And you might forget too. Modern psychology calls this somatic focus, when you fixate on physical discomfort, making it feel worse. This cycle can amplify pain, disrupt your mood, and weaken connections, turning health complaints into your default way of talking. Yet studies show that people with rich social lives who focus on positives and keep their sense of humor recover faster, feel less lonely, and live longer. You do not need to hide your pain. Just do not let it be your whole story. Here is something remarkable. Every time you laugh, even softly, your immune system gets a boost. When you talk about what excites you, a bird on your balcony, a good book, or your neighbor's gardening, you step out of the shadow of symptoms and invite others into your vibrant world. And surprisingly, they stay longer, they smile more, they check in not out of duty, but because they enjoy being with you. Think of conversations as a mental meal. If you add too much pain to the mix, it is hard to digest. But sprinkle in lighter moments, a funny story, a warm memory, or a sincere compliment, and it becomes something people look forward to. You deserve to be heard, but you can also be the one who makes others feel at ease in a world full of worry. The person who lifts others' spirits is the strongest of all. Try asking, "How about you?" or "What is making you happy these days?" Share what you are still doing, cooking something new, watching a show, or just smiling at a sunny day. You do not need to pretend you are fine. Just remember you are more than your ailments. That vitality is a priceless gift to those still by your side. Number 8, clinging to outdated beliefs. We carry beliefs shaped by our past beliefs that once guided us, saved us, and we assume will always be true, but the world is not what it used to be. And beliefs, if not refreshed, can stop lighting the way and start blocking the view. Psychology calls this belief perseverance, holding on to a belief even when evidence proves otherwise. This is stronger in older adults because our brains crave stability over change, especially after building a solid worldview in our minds. What worked before? How to raise kids, manage work, or understand morality and gender. Made sense in its time, but as society moves into a new era, those rules can become outdated or even hurtful if applied rigidly. The danger is, we do not easily see when our beliefs start harming us or others. People will not say, "I do not share my life because I am afraid you will judge me," or "I do not talk about my relationships because I know you will think they are wrong." They do not want to hurt you. They just stop sharing deeply. You are still there at family gatherings or visits, but you are no longer the one they open up to. That is the deepest loss of stubbornness. You are present but slowly become invisible in others' emotional lives. A common mistake is thinking that opening up to new ideas means abandoning your values. That is not true. Opening up does not erase your roots, it upgrades your perspective. Like a computer needs software. The new software updates your mind, needs new knowledge and context. You are not cutting your roots. You are growing new branches to make your life richer. Relevance does not come from status, it comes from connection. You do not have to agree with every modern idea. But saying, "I do not fully get it, explain it to me," or "I used to think differently, but you make a good point," shows respect and rebuilds bridges between generations. And here is the wonder. Sometimes the ideas you resisted after listening bring new light to you, maybe in understanding someone, a situation, or even yourself better. Are you still with me? If you stay a few more minutes, I promise, the next part will make you see things in a new way. Number 9. Moving slowly and making the world go around you. How you move says more than you think, about how present you are, how much you care, and whether you notice others. As we age, our bodies naturally slow down. You might walk more cautiously, That is normal and okay. Studies on aging show our nervous system and balance sensors decline noticeably after 60. That is not your fault, but the issue is not moving slowly. It is not noticing where you are or who is moving with you. Have you ever stopped in a store aisle to read a label, not realizing your cart was blocking the way, or strolled slowly with family, taking up the whole sidewalk, forcing others to squeeze by, on their own? These moments are harmless, but repeated. They are not just small mistakes. They become a kind of passive presence, unaware of the space around you. Psychology calls this context blindness, being so focused on your thoughts or tasks that you miss how the environment is shifting. In older adults, this can worsen as our brains handle multitasking less effectively. You do not mean to be rude, but others do not know that. They will not say you are in the way or walking with you is tiring because I am always dodging for you. They just go around you. They sigh softly. They avoid shopping with you or walking in busy places. Not because they do not care, but because being with you feels like managing an obstacle. Someone who does not adjust to the flow, over time your presence carries a mental cost, and people with limited patience choose less contact over confrontation. You can move slowly, but move with awareness. When you stop, check if someone is behind you. When talking in a hallway, step to one side. When walking with someone, do not drift into their space. This subtle awareness is the quiet beauty of a mature heart. In a fast-paced world, small acts of courtesy, like not blocking the way, stand out because they are rare. When you do this, no one will applaud, but they will feel lighter, more at ease, and in their minds, they will associate you with safety. Think of moving as a small act of love for the world. When you step aside, you are saying, I see you. When you do not block the path, you are signaling, I respect your rhythm. You do not need to be fast, you just need to be fully present. That quiet presence is a charm that makes people feel good, want to stay close and remember you fondly. Number 10, telling outdated jokes. You might have been the life of the party, someone who knew just when to crack a joke, toss in a witty remark, or add a touch of playful sarcasm that had everyone laughing. But times have changed. What made people laugh in 1985 might now leave an awkward silence. Saying I was just kidding used to be a polite escape, but today it can feel like I do not care about your feelings. Humor is not just about making people laugh. It is about reading the room, sensing reactions, and adjusting, so no one feels left out. That is a skill that comes not just from wit, but from empathy. Unfortunately, a lack of attention can turn a harmless joke into a barrier that pushes people away. Why do old jokes fall flat with younger people today? It is not just changing tastes. Cultural values and sensitivity to respect have shifted. Younger generations grew up valuing personal boundaries, caring about others' feelings, and taking seriously what was once brushed off as no big deal, like jokes about gender, race, appearance, or lifestyle choices. A joke that once got a chuckle might now make someone feel judged or unsafe. They will not snap back. They will just stay quiet, force a smile, or change the subject. But afterward, you will notice a shift, less sharing, fewer chats, a quiet distance forming. In psychology, this is called passive emotional withdrawal, a way to avoid discomfort without conflict. The sad part is, you did not mean harm, you just wanted to lighten the mood, like you have done your whole life. Humor is not wrong, it is still needed, but it needs to grow with the times. No one expects you to tiptoe around or censor yourself constantly. But choosing your jokes carefully is not just about politeness, it is about emotional maturity. It shows, no, real laughter should not hurt anyone. Humor does not have to target others. Jokes about your own silly moments, everyday mishaps, or gently poking fun at yourself are always relatable, kind, and leave no one feeling uneasy. When your laughter spreads joy, not discomfort, you are not just making people smile, you are opening a door to connection. But if your humor relies on someone's embarrassment or judgment, it is no longer a bridge, it is a wall. You are not just talking, you are setting the mood. A room full of laughter but lacking emotional safety will eventually feel cold. Let your humor be a thoughtful gift, a sign of your care, not a way to say things were better before. When you do that, your laughter never goes out of style, not because of the joke, but because of who you are. Someone who brings joy without leaving anyone behind. That is real humor, the kind that earns smiles and respect. Number 11, acting helpless when you are not. Aging does not mean becoming helpless, but it is dangerous when we lean into that role so much that we start believing it ourselves, and so do those around us. No one denies that age brings real changes. Weaker muscles, fading eyesight, slower learning with technology, but physical decline does not mean your spirit has to shrink too. The problem starts when physical changes lead to a darker place, where phrases like, "I cannot do it," or "Can you do it for me?" become so common. They define you not just a moment of need. Psychology calls this learned helplessness, when you stop believing you can handle things even when you are capable. It is not laziness, it is the result of staying passive too long, losing a sense of control and accepting. Let others handle it, but you were not born to be sidelined. You were born to steer your life's journey with hands that can still grip and a heart that still yearns. You might think your requests are small, but when they pile up day after day, they form a pattern others feel. They will not say it, but quiet frustration grows, not because they do not love you, but because they feel assigned a role they did not choose. Friends end up doing all the heavy lifting. Kids avoid outings with you. Everyone smiles politely, helping with your small requests, but inside they wonder, why am I always doing this when they could try? One of the saddest losses in aging is not health, it is agency. The more you give up on small tasks, carrying a bag, ordering food, learning a new device, the more your brain learns to retreat. Problem-solving coordination and short-term memory weaken faster when you stop using them. In geriatrics, this is called a progressive immobility syndrome, a decline from staying still and avoiding challenges. But those who keep moving stay curious and say, "Let me try first," stay sharp and independent. Longer, admiration does not come from doing things perfectly. It comes from trying, even if you are not sure you will succeed. Cooking a simple meal, fixing a switch, or exploring your new phone, these are quiet declarations. I am still here. Engaged in life, not just watching it pass. Your family might fuss or try to stop you at first, but when you do something for yourself, not asking for help, give some help unless you need it, you make them proud, not because you did it all, but because you know when to try and when to ask. Taking back small tasks is a powerful silent statement. It does not need applause, but you will see it in your family's eyes, in how they start asking your opinion again, and most of all, in how you feel facing yourself. Weakness is part of life, but using it to avoid effort, seek service, or dodge responsibility is not weakness. It is giving up. And you deserve better. Say, "I need help" only when you truly do. Otherwise say, "I will try" first. Number 12. Pretending you are always right. When you have lived decades, weathered life's twists from loss to triumph, mistakes to wisdom, it is natural to feel you know how it works. There is comfort in believing you have cracked life's code, that you have seen enough to predict what is next. But in that confidence lies a quiet trap, the need to always be right. Psychology ties this to confirmation bias, favoring information that supports your beliefs while dismissing what does not. In older adults, this can grow stronger. As the world feels like it is passing you by, technology races ahead. Values shift, and what you once knew for sure is questioned. In a world spinning faster, saying, "I am right," "I know" becomes a shield, not to prove you are smart, but to hold on to your worth. The problem is, when being right matters more than connecting, you pull back, not physically, but emotionally. Conversations stop being exchanges and become one-sided lectures. Families stop sharing ideas, fearing interruption. Grandkids stop asking questions, feeling dismissed. And slowly the person who wants to be heard becomes the one avoided. You do not realize that the harder you push to be right, the more you lose something greater: trust. Trust does not come from knowing everything. It comes from listening, learning, and admitting. You are still part of a changing world. A study in the Journal of Gerontology found that older adults with strong relationships often show cognitive openness, a willingness to learn, not the best memory. Or skills, wisdom is not holding all the answers. It is knowing when to stay quiet, when to ask questions, and when to smile and let others find their way. It comes from patience, a soft strength that makes people want to return. Seek your advice and stay close, not because you silenced them, but because you heard them. When you stop fighting to win every discussion, your words gain value, not because you backed Bond, but because you chose the right moment to speak. Your voice carries not just authority, but the depth of experience. People listen not just with their ears, but with respect. because your words invite thought, not demand agreement. Aging as a rare privilege is not about being the keeper of ultimate truth. It is about making space for new truths to grow in your kids, your partner, or a world that is still unfolding. If you have felt left behind, if conversations have grown scarce, pause and ask, am I trying too hard to be right? If the answer is yes, you have taken the first step back, not to youth, but to your rightful place. A guide through humility, not power. No one ages more gracefully than someone who stays open-minded. No one is more respected than the person who says, I used to think that, but I am learning now. That is the true mark of a soul still alive and growing. Dear friend, if you are still here listening to these final moments, I believe it is not because you want to be a better older person, but because you are quietly choosing to live beautifully, despite age, or the changes that sometimes leave us feeling lost. We are not as young as we once were, true. But that means we do not need to prove ourselves anymore. Instead of being right, we can choose understanding. Instead of always being strong, we can choose gentleness, because true maturity is not having the best answers. It is daring to listen to others and to yourself. Let me ask you something. Gently. No need to answer right away. When was the last time you said sorry or thank you, instead of assuming you were right? If there is one small thing you would like to do differently after this video, what would it be? Share it with me in the comments. Your small words might be a quiet light for someone else who needs it. We are still in this together in a special way. If these thoughts touched you, if you would like someone to sit with you each week, opening their heart and sparking new ideas, please subscribe and hit the bell. I will not promise anything grand, just small, gentle conversations to help you feel your life still matters, that you are connected, heard, and valued. Thank you for being here today. Wishing you a peaceful evening. See you in the next video.